great guy. He knows it's a witch hunt. That's what he knows. He's seen a lot of them. And he said he's never seen anything so horrible. As an example, 33,000 emails requested by Congress with a subpoena, and they get burned, they get deleted, and nobody says anything. Give me a break. So Rudy knows it's a witch hunt. He started yesterday. He'll get his facts straight. He's a great guy. But what he does is he feels it's a very bad thing for our country, and he happens to do it.
When did you actually find out? When did you find out when the retainer was being spent?
Well, you're going to find out because, we're going to give a full list, and people know. And virtually everything said has been said incorrectly, and it's been said wrong, or it's been covered wrong by the press. Just like NBC and ABC yesterday covered the story wrong. So, but you'll be finding out. It's actually, wait a minute. It's actually very simple. It's actually very simple. But there has been a lot of misinformation, really, people wanting to say, and I say, you know what? Learn before you speak. It's a lot easier.
Mr. President, are you sure Americans going to be released from North Korea?
We're having very substantive talks with North Korea, and a lot of things have already happened with respect to the hostages. And I think you're going to see very good things. As I said yesterday, stay tuned. I think you're going to be seeing very, very good things.
Mr. President,
and also the trip is being scheduled. We now have a date and we have a location. We'll be announcing it soon.
Mr. President, have you changed your mind at all about being willing to sit with Robert Mueller?
Well, the problem with sitting is this. You have a group of investigators, and they say that I am not a target, and I'm not a target. But you have a group of investigators that are all Democrats. In some cases, they went to the Hillary Clinton celebration that turned out to be a funeral. So you have all these investigators, they're Democrats. In all fairness, Bob Mueller worked for Obama for 8 years. You look at the statements that were made. If you take a look, as an example, at the Rod Rosenstein letter to me prior to the firing of James Comey, just read it. Put it in the air. Your viewers don't know about it. Put that letter on the air. It very much speaks very loudly, and that's just one thing. So I would say this. If I could be, I would love to speak. I would love to. Nobody wants to speak more than me. In fact, against my lawyers, because most lawyers, they never speak on anything. I would love to speak because we've done nothing wrong. There was no collusion with the Russians. There was nothing. There was no obstruction. Very funny. If you fight back because you people say something wrong or they something wrong or they leak, which they've been doing, if you fight back, they say, oh, that's obstruction of justice. Somebody says something wrong, you fight back, they say that's obstruction of justice. It's nonsense. Okay, so let me just, wait, let me just tell you. So I would love to speak. I would love to go. Nothing I want to do more because we did nothing wrong. We ran a great campaign. We won easily. We won that easily. 306 to, I think it was 223. We won it easily. That was a great victory. That was a great day for this country. We just had new job numbers out. You saw we broke 3.9%. I would love to go. I would love to speak, but I have to find that we're going to be treated fairly. Wait. I have to find that we're going to be treated fairly because everybody sees it now, and it is a pure witch hunt. Right now, it's a pure witch hunt. Why don't we have Republicans looking also? Why aren't we having Republican people doing what all these Democrats are doing? It is a very unfair thing. If I thought it was fair, I would override my lawyers.
Are you sure that Michael Cohen wasn't paying jobs report today?
I thought the jobs report was very good. The big thing to me was cracking 4. That hasn't been done in a long time. You'll tell me how long. But it hasn't been done in a long time. We're full employment. We're doing great. The stock market is doing, I guess it's up 35% since the election. And now I think really they're waiting to see what's going to happen on trade because we're going to have some incredible trade deals announced. My people are coming back right now from China. And we will be doing something one way or the other with respect to what's happening in China. And let me say this. I have great respect for President Xi. That's why we're being so nice, and we have a great relationship. But we have to bring fairness into trade between the U.S. and China, and we'll do it.
Are you sure that Michael Cohen...
The President of the United States on his way to Texas, taking several reporter questions, making so many headlines. Let's just begin, Caroline, with Rudy Giuliani, the president's own attorney, as you see him departing, landing at Joint Base Andrews there, undercutting his own attorney, saying Giuliani just started yesterday, which is not factual, and he'll get his facts straight.
Right. I'm in complete shock. I've never seen anything like this, quite frankly. You know, Michael and I disagreed previously about sort of what the underlying strategy here was when he came out on Giuliani, when he came out on Hannity and gave that bombshell interview. I really was of the mindset that this was a pre-planned strategy because they knew, because of the raid on Michael Cohen's home office and hotel room, they knew there was going to be some bad facts out there and they wanted to get ahead of it.
Actually, Giuliani said as much to NBC that we knew the Southern District was going to come out with this.
And the reporting indicates that happened, but in basically a closed-door meeting between Trump and Giuliani, unbeknownst to the rest of his entire legal team, to the rest of his communications team, who were, by all accounts, flabbergasted by this interview. But apparently it was part of the strategy. But now, again, we're seeing this walk back by Trump, and it's very confusing. I've never seen anything like it.
We're going to bring in Bakari Sellers and Mary Catherine Ham to this discussion right now. Mary Catherine, let me start with you. The President of the United States just said of his attorney, who claimed that the President was okay with everything he said, the President of the United States basically just said, Rudy Giuliani botched this. He's a great guy.
But he didn't get it right.
But he didn't get his facts straight, and he'll be issuing a statement. Mary Catherine, what do you make of it?
I mean, it's sort of classic Trump to probably have a plan to send someone out there, have him say what he says, and then undercut it. I actually think, I imagined he might not do this to Giuliani because they do seem so in sync, and Giuliani's moves seemed a clear call, at least that, like, I feel like fighting, I feel like going on offense, I have the same gut feelings as President Trump, and that would keep them sort of on the same page. But perhaps the blowback to that interview has told him otherwise. I'm sort of surprised.
We'll keep talking about all of the shocking things that just happened, but an important piece of news out of the situation with North Korea. The president did say there, you may have missed it near the end, he said that a location and date have been set for his meeting with Kim Jong-un. He just said that. He also said about those detainees, those 3 Americans, I think you'll hear a lot of good things. Obviously, their families are waiting to hear what will happen to them and what their fate will be if they're coming home. Bakari Sellers, the president said it's actually very simple, explaining the payment to Stormy Daniels. And he said, it's best if you, quote, learn before you speak. It's a lot easier.
Well, this has been a very interesting kind of diagnosis if you look at this from a legal perspective, because you had Rudy Giuliani, who did his best My Cousin Vinny impersonation and went out there and actually got the president in more trouble than he was before he actually spoke on Fox News. That's first. Second, now you have the president attempting to walk that back and undercut everything that Rudy Giuliani said. But even more importantly, this president has a trust deficit with the American people. He has a trust deficit with Robert Mueller. He has a trust deficit with everyone. So I'm not sure that anyone would believe anything that comes out of his mouth. That's why anyone who loves him or is around him or works for him does not want him to sit down for an interview, because he just rambles and he cannot tell the truth. And so what we saw today was more meandering, and it may have more legal consequences. It doesn't have any political consequence, because what we've learned in this Trump presidency is nothing matters anyway politically, but it will have legal consequences.
He did talk directly, as Bakari brings up, Michael Zeldin, about the potential interview with Robert Mueller and his team. And the president is continuing what is this new aggressive attack from both the president and his new legal team on this, directly saying that the lawyers who work for Robert Mueller are partisans, mentioning that some of them are Democrats, some donated to Hillary Clinton. One, I think Andrew Weissman went to the victory party, the Hillary Clinton, what was supposed to be a victory party that night. But then he said something that's flat out false. He said Robert Mueller worked for Obama for 8 years. Not true. He was the FBI director appointed by President Bush, and then he stayed on, as they do.
And he's a registered Republican.
Exactly. But Michael Zeldin, this attack saying that I'm willing to sit down with the special counsel, but only if I know that he's fair. What do you make of it?
Well, of course, he, as the client, has the right to determine whether he will or not sit down. The lawyers can't tell him what to do. They can advise him, but ultimately it's his decision. So any decision to testify or not to testify is on the client, President Trump. And the notion that he's not going to sit down unless fairly treated by people who he thinks are on his side is a bit, sort of counterindicated to the reality of things. He has this team, and that's who he has to deal with.
Michael Zeldin, just notable pictures here. We see the president walking side by side with his chief of staff, John Kelly, amid all the reporting. The reporting that Kelly called the president an idiot multiple times. You see this important image for the White House to put out here. Caroline, as we continue to watch the president as he walks to Air Force One, he's heading to Dallas. The president also said, and this struck me at the end, I want to sit down with Mueller. I want to sit down with Mueller if I think he's fair. And he said, if I thought he was fair, I would override my lawyers. That's also significant, right? Basically, we know John Dowd left because he wasn't being listened to.
Right. There's been a lot of shakeup on the legal team. Obviously, Trump isn't sort of the ideal client to have.
Let's listen to the president.
About our relationship. We have a great relationship. He's doing a great job as chief of staff. I could not be more happy. So I just want to tell you that. The New York Times has falsely reported. They've said things that are absolutely false. So I just want to tell you that. And, General, you may have something to say.
Well, I would just say it's an absolute privilege to work for a president that has gotten the economy going. We're about to have a breakthrough, I believe, on North Korea. The jobs report today, everything is going phenomenally well, attacking the opioid crisis. It's nothing less than brilliant what's been accomplished in 15 months, I believe.
Mr. President, when did you change your story on Stormy Daniels?
We're not changing any stories. All I'm telling you is that this country is right now running so smooth. And to be bringing up that kind of crap and to be bringing up witch hunts all the time, that's all you want to talk about. You're going to see, excuse me.
You did not know
no, but you have to,
the payments.
Excuse me, you take a look at what I said. You go back and take a look. You'll see what I said.
You said no.
Excuse me. You go take a look at what we said. But this is a witch hunt like.
All right, we just lost our signal there with the president.
Looks
and
like it's
notably,
back.
John Kelly.
Things have been done. But what I do want you to do is look at our economy. Today we broke 4%, 3.9% we hit today for the first time in many, many years. We're really proud of it, and we'll talk to you folks later. But I will tell you this. When Rudy made the statements, Rudy's great, but Rudy had just started, and he wasn't totally familiar with everything. And Rudy, we love Rudy. He's a special guy. What he really understands is that this is a witch hunt. He understands that probably better than anybody. Excuse me. But Rudy understands this better than anybody. But when he made certain statements, he just started yesterday. So that's it. So bottom line is, I want to talk to the people in charge if they can prove that it's a fair situation. The problem we have is that you have 13 people, they're all Democrats, and they're real Democrats. They're angry Democrats. And that's not a fair situation. Thank you very much. We have a chance of bringing, we're doing very well with the hostages. We're in constant contact with the leadership. We are in constant contact with North Korea. We've actually worked out a time and a place which will be announced shortly. And very soon. I figured you'd ask that question. But wait a minute.
American troops in South Korea, are they on the table?
Not really, not at this moment. Certainly not.
You're not planning to withdraw troops?
No. And we haven't been asked to. Now, I have to tell you, at some point into the future, I would like to save the money. We have 32,000 troops there. But I think a lot of great things will happen. But troops are not on the table. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, President Trump there. He is now boarding Air Force One for a trip to Dallas. This has turned into an extraordinary morning, I have to say, with the president sending direct messages, visual messages. The most significant, I think, for where we are today is a complete walk back, I think, of what Rudy Giuliani, his now personal attorney in the Russia matter, has said over the last few days. Rudy Giuliani, of course, confirming that the president reimbursed Michael Cohen, his attorney, for the Stormy Daniels hush money payments. Now the president, not once but twice this morning, once at the White House and a second time just to make sure we understood it fully, said that Rudy Giuliani just started and may not have his facts completely straight here. You know, Caroline Polisi, again, as an attorney, this just has to make you cringe.
It's just unbelievable, John. I've honestly never seen anything like it. You know, we heard some familiar refrains there from Trump. This is a witch hunt. Rudy's a great guy. He's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's trying to have it both ways, basically saying that, you know, our story hasn't changed when in fact Rudy may not have been fully informed. I thought it was interesting that he repeated this familiar refrain that he's not a target of this, the entire Mueller investigation. Remember, he may not be a target simply because Robert Mueller is operating under the assumption of the Office of Legal Counsel memorandum, which states that a sitting president cannot be indicted. So that could merely be the reason.
But if Giuliani is, in the president's words just now, quote, not totally familiar with everything, Caitlin Collins, let me bring you in here as well at the White House, he said, we love Rudy. He's not totally familiar with everything. He'll get his facts straight. We know that Giuliani and the president sat down and mapped out and strategized before Giuliani went on Hannity and left everyone else at the White House out of the loop on that.
That's right, Poppy. They spoke not only after that interview, but also before. And our sources told us that the president was not upset with what Rudy Giuliani said during that. And then, of course, the president himself backed up what Rudy Giuliani said on Fox News on Twitter in a series of tweets. But he made several comments about Rudy, saying he's a great guy, but said he's still learning the subject matter, getting his facts right. He said that he just started yesterday, but of course, I should note that it was reported 2 weeks ago that Rudy Giuliani was joining the president's legal team. One of those comments there about Rudy still getting adjusted could have been about the fact that Giuliani did announce on Fox News yesterday that those Americans detained in North Korea were being released yesterday. Of course, that didn't happen, and the White House and the State Department still have not confirmed any of that. So that might have been what the president is referencing there. But a fascinating back and forth just there on the tarmac at JBA before the president boarded Air Force One, where he was arguing with a reporter about what he said on Air Force One about Stormy Daniels. He was telling the reporter to go back and look at what he said. Of course, John and Poppy, we both know that on that flight, he denied knowing anything about the payment to Stormy Daniels from Michael Cohen, and also denied knowing where that money came from. But there, the president saying, go back and